Very good morning, children. So children, we are studying basically we are doing the revision of the chapter 2, self and personality. In this chapter, we had already discussed about the concept of self and the concept of personality also. We studied about different approaches to the study of personality. The different approaches are, first we discussed type approach, then we discussed trait approach, and then we studied the psychodynamic approach. We also studied behavioral approach, cultural approach, and the humanistic approach. So we had studied about the psychodynamic approach, the type approach, trait approach, and we studied the humanistic approach, then cultural approach, then behavioral approach also. Today we are going to study about the Neo-Freudian approaches. Our topic of today is Neo-Freudian approaches, which is also known as post-Freudian approaches. You can see on your screen that post-Freudian approaches is written. It is known as Neo-Freudian or post-Freudian because they all had came after the Freud. So they all had came after the Freud. That's why they are known as post-Freudian or the Neo-Freudian. Some of the Neo-Freudian or the post-Freudians are Carl Jung, Karen Harney, Erich Fromm, Alfred Adler, and Erik Erikson. Neo-Freudian and the post-Freudians are also known as neo-analytic. They are also known as neo-analytic. Neo-Freudian जो आए थे, they give less emphasis on the sexual and the aggressive tendencies of the id and expansion of the concept of ego. इन्होंने just like the Freud give more emphasis on the id and the sexual characteristics of the person and the aggressive tendency. So apart from that one, the Neo-Freudian give more emphasis on the ego. They had expanded the concept of ego, but they made the concept of id not so influential. So we are studying about the Neo-Freudian approach. In the Neo-Freudian approach, which maximum focus on the expansion of the concept of ego, and it gives less emphasis on the sexual characteristics and other things. The people who belong to the Neo-Freudian or the Neo-Analytic are the Carl Jung. These are the things which we had discussed right now. So first one came the Carl Jung. Carl Jung worked with the Freud in his early stages of career, but later on he broke away from Freud. कार्ल यूंग ने फ्रेड के साथ काम किया था, बट कुछ टाइम वर्क करने के बाद उन्होंने फ्रेड के साथ वर्क नहीं किया. यूंग का अपना ही कंसेप्ट था. यूंग जो थे वो सेक्सुअल कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स को कम एम्फसाइज करते थे. he give more emphasis on the like analytical psychology. ये उनके फील्ड का नाम था, which is known as analytical psychology. He give more emphasis on the analysis of the problems and all. And यूंग जहाँ फ्रेड थे जो अनकॉन्शियस की बात करते थे, वहीं यूंग थे जो कलेक्टिव अनकॉन्शियस की बात उन्होंने की थी. Now what is collective unconscious? We will come on to that point. First we discuss What Jung says. Jung saw human being guided as much by aims and aspiration as by sex and aggression. Means आपने अभी just देखा, जो मैंने अभी just before आपको एक्सप्लेन किया था, कि जहाँ फ्रेड थे who did more emphasize on the sexual characteristics or the physical characteristic, वहीं यून थे. यून का ये मानना था कि जो ह्यूमन बीइंग होते हैं वो एम्स और एस्पिरेशन से गाइडेड होते हैं. उनका क्या एम है, उनके क्या गोल है, उससे ज्यादा वो गाइडेड होते हैं देन द सेक्स एंड द एग्रेशन. He developed his own theory of personality called analytical psychology. So he developed his own theory of personality, which is known as the analytical psychology. The basic assumption of his theory is that personality consists of competing forces and structure within the individual, rather than between the individual and the demand of society or between the individual and reality. बेसिकली कहने का मतलब है कि जो यून का कंसेप्ट था बहुत फ्रेड से बहुत डिफरेंट था. जहां फ्रेड थे जो कहते थे कि ह्यूमन बीइंग्स आर गाइडेड बाय द सेक्स एंड द एग्रेशन, whereas यून थे कि ह्यूमन बीइंग्स आर मोर गाइडेड बाय द एम्स एंड एस्पिरेशन. उसके एम्स और एस्पिरेशंस होते हैं, हर इंसान के कुछ गोल्स होते हैं, कुछ एम्स होते हैं जो उसको आगे बढ़ाते हैं. ओके, एंड उनकी जो थ्योरी ऑफ पर्सनैलिटी थी कार्ल यूंग की, इट टोटली बेस्ड ऑन एम्स एंड एस्पिरेशन, और इस थ्योरी का नाम उन्होंने एनालिटिकल साइकोलॉजी दिया. वही उन्होंने कहा कि जो कॉम्पिटिंग फोर्स होता है, यानी जो कंपटीशन होता है, वो इंसान का खुद से होता है, ना ही कि उसका खुद से सोसाइटी से. जस्ट लाइक फ्रेड ने ये कंसेप्ट दिया था, बट कार्ल यूंग ने जस्ट अपोजिट दिया. उन्होंने ये कहा कि जो कॉम्पिटिंग फोर्सेस होते हैं दैट एग्जिस्ट विद इन द इंडिविजुअल, वो उसकी खुद की लड़ाई उसकी खुद से होती है, ना कि सोसाइटी से या फिर कोई अदर पर्सन से. यून ने कलेक्टिव अनकॉन्शियस की बात कही, जिसका मतलब होता है द कलेक्टिव अनकॉन्शियस कंसिस्ट ऑफ आर्कीटाइप यानी प्रीमॉर्डियल इमेजेस. दीज आर नॉट इंडिविजुअली एक्वायर्ड बट आर इनहेरिटेड. कलेक्टिव अनकॉन्शियस पर्सन के पर्सनैलिटी का वो है एक अनकॉन्शियस, जो आपने सिगमंड फ्रेड की थ्योरी में पढ़ा कि अनकॉन्शियस मीन ऑफ विच पर्सन नॉट अवेयर ऑफ. वहीं कार्ल यूंग का कलेक्टिव अनकॉन्शियस था, जिसका मतलब जो कि पर्सन को इनहेरिट होता है. ये कलेक्टिव अनकॉन्शियस पर्सन को इनहेरिट होता है, ये एक्वायर्ड नहीं होता. जैसे गॉड और मदर अर्थ इज अ गुड एग्जांपल ऑफ आर्कीटाइप. ओके, ये सब मीन्स द नेचुरल थिंग, the means basically the natural thing which is related, natural objects, the natural thing which are not acquired, which are already inherited, is a part of the collective unconscious, and they are also known as archetype. Okay, somewhere in the board examination sometime it is asked what is archetype. So collective unconscious is a archetype. They are found in myths, dreams, and arts of all mankind. Jung held that self strive for unity and oneness. It is an archetype that is expressed in many ways. He devoted much of his effort to the study of such expression in various traditions. According to him, for achieving unity and wholeness, a person must become increasingly aware of the wisdom available in one's personal and collective unconscious, and must learn to live in harmony with it. बेसिकली यून जो थे यूनिटी और वननेस की बात करते थे. सो वी गेट सो मेनी पॉइंट्स इन द कार्ल यूंग थ्योरी ऑफ पर्सनालिटी. फर्स्ट, हिज थ्योरी इज मोर फोकस ऑन द एम्स एंड एस्पिरेशन. ही सेड दैट human beings are guided by their aims and aspiration more than by the sex and aggression. He totally opposed the theory of Freud, although he has worked with the Freud, but after some time he developed his own theory. He is a neo-Freudian. He is also known as the post-Freudian or the neo-analytic. His theory is known as analytical psychology. He taught about collective unconscious, which is also known as archetype. Collective unconscious वो aspect होता है person के personality का जो कि उसे inherit होता है, वो acquired नहीं करता है, like the nature, the god, the mother earth. These are the examples of the archetype. यून जो थे वो ज्यादा फोकस करते थे यूनिटी और वननेस पे, एकता पे. So this is basically all about the Carl Jung theory. And in this way, similarly, every neo-Freudian had given their theory. After the Carl Jung, the Karen Harney is a female psychologist. She gave more emphasis on optimistic view of human nature. Okay, children, you can find out the thing which is present in everything is that every neo-Freudian has their own concept of theory. Like Sigmund Freud has their own concept of theory. He taught about psychoanalytic theory. He taught about the sexual characteristic, the structure of personality. He taught about id, ego, superego. इसी तरह न्यू फ्राइडियंस भी जितने थे उनकी अपनी ही कुछ कंसेप्ट और अपने ही कुछ थ्योरी थे. Like first one which we have discussed right now, Carl Jung का क्या concept था? He taught about aim and aspiration. उसे Karen Harney give more emphasis on optimistic view of human nature. Harney was another disciple of Freud who developed a theory that deviated from basic Freudian principle. उन्होंने भी अपनी जो भी theory बनाई वो फ्रेडियन के जो भी प्रिंसिपल से उनसे डेविएट थे, उनसे अलग थे. She adopted a more optimistic view of human life with emphasis on human growth and self-actualization. Harney's major contribution lies in her challenge to Freud's treatment of women as inferior. हार्नी ने ज्यादातर फोकस इस चीज पे किया जैसे कि फ्रेड ने अपनी थ्योरी में वुमेन को हमेशा इंफीरियर रखा. ओके, so Karen Harney also have an optimistic view. So he just opposed the Freud theory, who considered the female in his theory as inferior. According to her, each sex has attributes to be admired by the other, and neither sex can be viewed as superior or inferior. This is a very good aspect of the Karen Harney theory. She doesn't consider any gender as inferior or as superior. She considers both the genders are in the equal place. So from her theory, we get the 2 points. First, her optimistic view of seeing anything, her optimistic view of human nature. Second, she considered both the gender at an equal place. She doesn't consider any of the gender as inferior or superior. Third point, she counted that women were more likely to be affected by social and culture factors than by biological factors. A very good important point related to the women, and this is the third point. उसने कहा कि women जो होती हैं वो ज़्यादातर social और cultural factor जो होते हैं, उनके जो social environment या cultural environment होते हैं उससे ज़्यादा effect होते हैं, ना कि biological से. उन्होंने argue किया कि psychological disorder were caused by disturbed interpersonal relationship during childhood. When parents' behavior toward a child is indifferent, discouraging, and irritated, the child feels insecure and a feeling called basic anxiety results. So you can see, children, how many points are there which are related to the Karen Harney. First, we had discussed the Carl Jung theory. Now we are discussing about the Karen Harney theory. So you will find out the difference, what are the difference. And you have to make a notes also of this one in a points so that you will be better learn to all these things. So moving toward the Karen Harney theory, the first point is the optimistic view of human nature. Okay. Second point is that she never considered any gender or any sex as superior or inferior. She placed them both in the equal place. Third, she has a view that women are more affected by the social and cultural factor than by the biological factor. Fourth, उन्होंने कहा कि many psychological disorder, जितने भी psychological disorders होते हैं उनका reason उन्होंने बताया कि disturbed interpersonal relationship childhood में जब बच्चे होते हैं stage में होते हैं तो वहाँ पे अगर कोई disturbed interpersonal relationship होता है like parents का child से या child का parent से या father mother anything, so it create a kind of insecurity in the child and a basic anxiety result. Deep resentment toward parents or basic hostility occur due to this anxiety. By showing excessive dominance or indifference, or by providing too much or little approval or too little approval, Parents can generate among children feeling of isolation and helplessness, which interfere with their healthy development. So you can see that these are all points which are related to the parenting style. So this is the Karen-Harney theory. First we discussed the Carl Jung theory, and second we had discussed the Karen-Harney theory. Now moving toward the third theory, Alfred Adler. Alfred Adler is again the third Neo-Freudian or the post-Freudian. He also has given his own theory of personality. His theory is known as the individual psychology. Just like Carl Jung psychology field is known as analytical psychology, Alfred Adler is known as individual psychology. He gives more emphasis on lifestyle and social interests. Now coming to his theory, let us understand about his theory. Adler's theory is known as individual psychology. His basic assumption is that human behavior is purposeful and goal directed. Each one of us has the capacity to choose and create. Our personal goals are the sources of our motivation. The goals that provide us with security and help us in overcoming the feelings of inadequacy are important in our personality development. In Adler's view, every individual suffers from the feeling of inadequacy and guilt, that is inferiority complex, which arise from childhood, and overcoming this complex is essential for optimal personality development. Overall, कहने का मतलब ये है कि एल्फ्रेड एडलर ने 3 important things पे फोकस किया है. What are the 3 important things? First one, his theory is known as individual psychology. Second one, he said that human behavior is purposeful and goal directed. Very important point. उन्हें कहा कि जो ह्यूमन का बिहेवियर है वो पर्पसफुल होता है. हम लोग बिना कोई पर्पस से कोई भी काम नहीं करते और गोल डायरेक्टेड होता है. उस गोल के ही पीछे हम लोग जाते हैं. सेकेंड, उन्होंने कहा कि गोल की जब बात हो रही है तो जो पर्सनल गोल होता है पर्सन का, दैट इज द मेन सोर्स ऑफ मोटिवेशन. ओके, आपको क्या चाहिए, आपको क्या करना है, दैट मैटर्स अ लॉट. This is all about the Alfred Adler. One last thing related to the Alfred Adler is he talked about the inferiority complex. Inferiority complex word you have listened earlier also many times, which mean a feeling of inadequacy and guilt. Okay, और ये childhood में होती है. बच्चों को, बहुत से बच्चों को inferiority होती है, like different kind of feeling it was, guilt की feeling होती है, अजीब सा inadequacy लगता है. अगर इस कॉम्प्लेक्स से ओवरकम करना बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट है फॉर द हेल्दी पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट. अदरवाइज द होल लाइफ द चाइल्ड विल सफर एंड द चाइल्ड विल द होल लाइफ फील इनसिक्योर, हैव अ फीलिंग ऑफ फियर, अ फोबिक ऑफ एनी समथिंग, रिजल्ट इन एंजाइटी, worries. So many problems arise. So this is all the Alfred Adler theory. So quick revision of all the 3 one. The first one is Carl Jung, second one is Karen-Harney, and third is Alfred Adler. The fourth Neo-Freudian is the Erich Fromm. Erich Fromm, in contrast to the Freud biological orientation, Fromm developed his theory of a social orientation. Okay, मैंने पहले ही बताया जितने भी Neo-Freudian आए उनका मेन एम्फेसाइज सोशल फैक्टर्स पे था, कल्चरल फैक्टर्स पे था, ना कि बायोलॉजिकल फैक्टर्स पे. एरिक फ्रॉम ने सोशल ओरिएंटेशन पे ज्यादा फोकस किया. ही व्यूड ह्यूमन बीइंग एज बेसिकली सोशल बीइंग. उन्होंने कहा ह्यूमन बीइंग जो है वो सोशल बीइंग है, who could be understood in terms of their relationship with other. He argued that psychological qualities such as growth and realization of potential resulting from a desire from freedom and striving for justice and truth. Again I am repeating, उन्होंने ये कहा कि जो साइकोलॉजिकल क्वालिटीज होती हैं पर्सन की, जैसे ग्रोथ, बढ़ना और अपने पोटेंशियल को रियलाइज करना, वो कैसे रिजल्ट करता है, डिजायर फॉर फ्रीडम एंड स्ट्राइविंग फॉर जस्टिस एंड ट्रूथ. मीन्स बेसिकली एरिक फ्रॉम का ये कहना था कि हर एक इंसान बायोलॉजिकल बीइंग तो होता है, बट मोर देन इट इज अ सोशल बीइंग, एंड social being कैसे होता है? When the person interact with other people, then हर एक इंसान desire for freedom, every human being have a desire for freedom and strive for justice and truth. हर एक इंसान को justice चाहिए, truth चाहिए. They don't like the things which are not truth. So they strive for justice and truth. They have a desire for freedom. I hope you all are understanding the topic in a better manner. We are again and again, I'm doing the revision that we are studying the Neo-Freudian and the Post-Freudian, where we discuss about the Alfred Adler concept. We also discussed about the Carl Jung concept. We discussed about the Karen Harney. And now we are discussing about the Erich Fromm. Erich Fromm concept also we had discussed that he gave more emphasis on that human beings are the social being. Fromm hold that character trait developed from our experiences with other individuals. While culture is shaped by the mode of existence of a given society, people's dominant character traits in a given society work as forces in shaping the social processes and culture itself. His work recognizes the value of positive qualities such as tenderness and love in personality development. Basically, जितने भी Neo Freudians आए and the Post Freudian आए, their main emphasis on the social development, social factor, cultural factor, not on the biological factor. Now, next Neo Freudian is the Erik Erikson. Before moving to the Erik Erikson, I want to make a quick revision. What are the psychologists, Neo Freudians are there, and what are their concepts? First one, Carl Jung, whose theory is known as analytical psychology, who give more emphasis on the aim and aspiration, and who give the concept of collective unconsciousness, archetype, which are not acquired, they are inherited, like the God or the Mother Earth. Okay. After that, Karen Harney, who give more emphasis on the optimistic view of human nature. She said that she doesn't consider any gender as superior or inferior. She places both the gender at equal place. She considers psychological disorder, the causes for that one is the disturbed interpersonal relationship in childhood, and which result a basic anxiety among the child. Then come the Alfred Adler. Alfred Adler give more emphasis on the personal goal. That personal goal will be the motivation for the child, and individual psychology field he has given. उनका assumptions था कि human behavior is a purposeful and goal directed. बिना कोई purpose और बिना कोई goal के कोई भी work नहीं होता. Then come the Erich Fromm, who give emphasis on the social orientation, social factor and culture factor than the biological. He said that human beings are social beings and we better understand them how they interact with other person. Now the Erik Erikson. Erik Erikson की theory भी है of psychosocial development. जहाँ Fred ने theory दी है psychosexual development. Here the Erik Erikson talks about the different theories of psychosocial development. उन्होंने भी कुछ stages दिए हैं. Just like Sigmund Freud talked about the 5 stages of personality development: oral, anal, phallic, latency, and genital. Similarly, Erik Erikson ने भी कुछ stages दिए हैं personality development के, which we are not have to study here in detail. Erik Erikson ने, you can see it is already written in the bold letter, identity crisis. So basically, he gave more emphasis on the identity crisis. Let us study about the Erik Erikson theory. Erikson theory lays stress on rational conscious ego process in personality development. In his theory, development is viewed as lifelong process and ego identity is granted a central place in this process. His concept of identity crisis of adolescent stage has drawn considerable attention. Erickson argued that young people must generate for themselves a central perspective and a direction that can give them a meaningful sense of unity and purpose. So basically, Erik Erikson theory focus on the identity crisis. Okay, his main motive of his theory is to make the people understand that people search for their identity. हर कोई अपनी identity की search करता है कि what they mean, where they stand for. So if we talk about overall the Neo-Freudian, so Neo-Freudian all based on the social aspects of the human being, not on the biological aspect. Psychodynamic theory faced strong criticism from many quarters. The major criticism, कुछ criticisms भी आए थे psychodynamic theory के, which is given in your book, that this theory are largely based on case study. They lack a rigorous scientific basis. Means like every theories, इस theory के भी कुछ demerits आए थे, कुछ criticism किया गया था. ये criticism क्या था? ये देखा गया कि जो psychodynamic theory है उसमें केस स्टडी की लैकिंग है. मीन्स सिर्फ थ्योरी बता दिया गया है, केस स्टडी नहीं है, साइंटिफिक बेसिस की कमी है. उन्होंने जो भी थ्योरी अपनी बनाई, उन्होंने बहुत ही स्मॉल और अटिपिकल इंडिविजुअल्स लिए थे सैंपल में और उन्होंने उसको जनरलाइज कर दिया सभी पे. कंसेप्ट्स जो हैं प्रॉपरली डिफाइन नहीं हुए हैं और साइंटिफिक टेस्टिंग भी प्रॉपरली नहीं हुई है. फ्रेड की थ्योरी तो सबसे बड़ा क्रिटिसिज्म उनकी थ्योरी का ये था कि उन्होंने मेल्स को प्रोटोटाइप रखा है ऑफ ऑल ह्यूमन पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट. ही ओवरलोड फीमेल एक्सपीरियंसेस एंड पर्सपेक्टिव. उन्होंने फीमेल के एक्सपीरियंसेस और पर्सपेक्टिव को ओवरलोड कर दिया, अनदेखा कर दिया. As Karen Hani also mentioned this in her theory, that Fred considered in his theory the woman as inferior, which she has opposed. So this is all about the Neo-Freudian approach. So here I can see that as in the revision of the chapter 2, we all discuss about the all the approaches to the study of personality. So these are some of the criticisms of the psychodynamic theory, which are done by the critics and the other psychologists or the Neo-Freudians, that psychodynamic theories lack the case study, they lack the scientific basis, they have used very common sample, the concepts are not properly defined. In his theory, he maximum focus on the biological aspect. There is no consideration of the social factor and culture factor. Then he considered the men as superior and women as inferior. So these are the some of the criticism which were done by the of the psychodynamic theory. So here we have completed our approaches to the study of personality. So our next topic is the assessment of personality. In this chapter, you are going to study about the how you can assess the personality. आप personality को assess कैसे कर सकते हैं, ये भी हमें जानना है. So there are 3 methods have been discussed here for the assessment of the personality. They like psychometric test you can also conduct, self-report measurements are there, projective technique and behavioral analysis. These are the 4 techniques which are suggested by the psychologists in order to measure the personality of an individual. I want to make you understand about the assessment of personality. To know and understand and describe people is a task in which everybody is involved in day-to-day life. When we meet new people, we often try to understand them and even predict what they may do before we interact with them. In our personal life, we rely on our past experiences, observation, conversation, and information obtained from other person. This approach to understanding other may be influenced by a number of factors that may color our judgment and reduce objectivity. Hence, we need to organize our efforts more formally to analyze personality. A formal effort aimed at understanding the personality of an individual is termed as personality assessment. It was trying to say, ये कहना ये चाहते हैं कि whenever we meet people, we always do the assess. हम लोग assessment तो हर समय करते हैं. But the thing is that sometimes we do the assessment, most of the time I can say we do the assessment informal. Informal assessment तो हम लोग कई बार कर देते हैं, like a judgment. That particular person is like this one, वो ऐसा होगा, वो वैसा होगा. So this we do, but there is no all that judgment are based on subjective. They are not objective. So in order to do an assessment objectively and scientifically or with some reliable, we use some assessment method. So assessment refers to the procedure used to evaluate or differentiate people on the basis of certain characteristics. ये लोगों की कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स को इवेल्युएट भी करता है और इसकी कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स को दूसरे की कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स से डिफरेंशिएट भी करता है. The goal of assessment is to understand and predict behavior with minimum error and maximum accuracy. This is the most important point which is related to the assessment. Assessment का main मकसद या main motive I can say, we can say that ये होता है to understand the behavior of the people with minimum error and maximum accuracy. किसी के भी behavior को समझना, कम से कम mistake से ज़्यादा और accuracy उसमें ज़्यादा हो. So that is the purpose of assessment. So here we are discussing about what are the methods through which we can do the assessment of the personality, and second, what is assessment and what is the goal of assessment. So overall, I want to give an introduction. I am not going to detail in today. We will discuss in detail the self-report pager, the projective technique, and the behavioral analysis tomorrow. Today I will just tell you overview of all these major. The first one came the self-report major. Self-report नाम से पता चल रहा है जिसमें person give the factual information about themselves. You also studied this topic in the chapter 1 intelligence in the assessment of psychological attribute. There is a one method which is the self-report method. Personality is also one of the psychological attribute. So self-report method was there where we had already studied that self-report क्या है, where the person himself or herself give the information about themselves. अपने से ही उनके बारे में information वो देते हैं. In the self-report measurement of personality, we use some questionnaire. कुछ questionnaires होते हैं जिनका हम use करते हैं, जिसको उस questionnaires में कुछ items होते हैं. There were some questions which we called them items. You can say that we conduct a test. Questionnaires के form में test होते हैं, and that test is provided to the subject and subject fill it. And by filling it, subject give the information about themselves. So this method also has some merits and demerits. So like every method, सभी methods में कुछ merits होते हैं, कुछ demerits होते हैं. तो इसमें भी कुछ demerits है. Second आपके method है projective technique. ये best technique माना गया है for the assessment of the personality because it measures the unconscious feeling of the person, which the person usually hide. जो self report में हम लोग को नहीं पता चल सकता वो हमें projective technique से पता चल जाते हैं, क्योंकि जो उसमें स्टिमुलस होते हैं वो अनस्ट्रक्चर्ड होते हैं और सब्जेक्ट को ये मालूम ही नहीं होता कि उसकी पर्सनालिटी को मेजर किया जा रहा है. तो इट विल बी वेरी गिव द वेरी ट्रू रिजल्ट. देन आफ्टर बिहेवियरल एनालिसिस, कभी कभी क्या होता है, समटाइम वी आर नॉट एबल टू कंडक्ट सेल्फ रिपोर्ट मेजरमेंट, We are not able to do the projective technique. So sometime in order to do the assessment of the personality, we use the behavioral analysis method. Behavioral analysis method, like in that one we use interview, observation, behavioral rating करा देते हैं, nomination करते हैं, situational stress test होता है. So these are some of the things which are come under the behavioral analysis method. So today I had given you some of the overview of all the assessment of the all the methods of personality assessment. I hope you understand today's topic very well and do the revisions properly, make your notes. Notes are very important, and give your test in a very better manner. Thank you for listening to me and watching to me and understanding this topic.